Hello everybody, this is Rachel.
And this is Shirley.
This is episode 6 of Podcasa Bonita, talking about season 6 of South Park. And it's a special episode because...
Because we have a special guest!
Yay! My friend Katie.
Say hi, Katie.
Hi.
She is awesome. She's going to help us talk about South Park season 6, what we like, what we don't like. We don't really know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah.
But we're going to, dive right in. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Alright, so let's start off with episode 1. Jared has AIDS.
Aired March 6, 2002.
Weight loss advocate Jared Fogle incurs the wrath of the town after he announces that he lost weight because he has AIDS, misinterpreted as the deadly disease. Meanwhile, the boys use Butters as their spokesman for a Chinese restaurant, as Butters is on punishment and has Cartman covering for him.
Alright, well, this episode's kind of put into a different perspective, considering all this shit going on with Jared now. Didn't he, molest kids or something?
Yes, he was, I guess that's gonna be my fun fact. Jared was recently arrested for the possession of child pornography.
Oh no.
This was way before this happened. This was 14 years ago, which is scary to think about how long ago this was. But, yeah, that's kind of, I guess that's my fun fact. I don't have a lot to say about this episode, with factual-wise. So what do you think about it, Katie? We want to hear your point of view.
I don't know. This one, this was one of the ones where, if I was going to go back and watch it, I just go eh.
Yeah.
I didn't really have an opinion. It wasn't really good for me. It wasn't really bad. It was just,
Okay. I have a few notes, kind of minor shit, but in the intro, Butters holds up a little sign that says the Butters Show, over the South Park sign. And I was like, oh my god, what kind of self-awareness.
This is, continue.
that in every single episode up to, when they bring Tweak in. Yeah. And then there was one thing, the time when they were giving, Butters the liposuction.
Oh, yeah.
It's animated, but I have to look away because I've got a weak stomach.
I love the part where his parents come in Butters, how many times we told you not to have liposuction? He's 3 times. Or whatever.
Body image issues, and that makes me sad. It's canon.
I know, but how much attention to detail must his parents pay?
I know.
Tell him, can't do this. You can never have liposuction. Don't feed birds. Don't give money to homeless people. What the shit do they tell him every day?
Oh my gosh.
Poor Butters.
See, it's kind of sad because I think I know. I worked at a daycare, and I swear I know parents like that who have all those crazy rules. But my favorite part of the episode actually has a lot to do. I have two favorite parts of the episode. One of my favorites is Jared physically beating a dead horse. That is so funny. I laugh at that every time because I always know it's coming. I always know, as soon as I see him kind of
Ugh.
I'm I know what it is. But my other favorite thing is we're trying to, when the boys go to be spokesmen and everything after Butters gains all the weight and everything, we're trying to help our friend lose weight by eating your food and everything, and the owner will go which fat friend?
Yeah.
And Carmen's the fat one.
Oh, Cartman.
Oh, I love it when Carmen just totally denies it. It's great.
Speaking of denial, I love the part at the beginning where they make Butters wear the Kenny parka and everything, because they're so in denial of Kenny's death and bitch, me too. I feel it. I wish Butters was Kenny too.
I know, and it's
And then it's just when he gets pissed and says,
oh yeah.
I'm not Kenny. It's okay, not Kenny, sit down.
Yeah, I actually kind of enjoyed having Butters as the fourth boy, and I feel they've kind of gone back to that now, but they just Kenny's just not dead. They just forget about him.
Right.
Well, with that, are you guys ready to move on?
I am.
All right, here is episode 2, Asspen.
Aired March 13th, 2002.
The boys and their parents vacation in Aspen. Stan is dragged into a skiing competition with a plot straight out of a rom-com while their parents are imprisoned at a timeshare seminar. This is probably, at least, it's probably tied with another episode, but this is one of my favorites of the season.
I fucking love this episode just because of Stan Darsh.
Stan Darsh. Stan Darshy Darsh.
It kills me. I can't.
I want that on my gravestone. It's so funny.
That whole plotline is so funny to me. Just like it's like a parody of like really cheesy teen movies. And like the first time I watched this episode, like I was at the age where I watched those movies all the time. So it was especially funny to me.
My absolute favorite part, and it's not even like a big part of the storyline. It's just like one tiny little gag. Is when they're taking the lessons at the bunny school and everything, and they're doing like the pizza.
Oh.
Pizza, right? And Ike, like, he tries to get Ike to do it, and you just see him like pizza, French fries, pizza, and he slowly loses control, and you just see this like big shot of just like this tiny little Ike just screaming like pizza. He can't stop himself, and that's my favorite. Oh, that
And then like,
that's so funny.
you see what he did? He pizzaed with each of his friends.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a bad night.
Oh, and like my fun fact, kind of too. This episode sparked an old, like a pretty old internet meme, like a lol sort of meme.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're gonna have a bad time meme. I'm pretty sure anybody who's been on the internet since like 2008 knows you're gonna have a bad time meme. And then my other fun fact is the montage song that they had in this episode. They used later in Team America. They did like the montage song
Oh no.
for the 80s theme in this movie, and then they do the montage in Team America. And I thought that was so funny that they just recycled a song that they had already made
Right.
for a huge movie.
Hey,
You guys have anything else?
the only thing I have to say is that I really like that one line with Stan and Kyle where he's like, dude, he's got Heather. You don't even know Heather. Like, I thought that was so funny because I love Stan when his big ego gets in the way. It's really funny.
I know. He always gets sucked into things that he doesn't want to. Like, I've been, ever since, like, last podcast, I've been trying so hard to, like, find a clear distinction between Stan and Kyle, and I still haven't gotten it completely. But Stan's motivations are usually, generally, like, revolved mostly around him, and about his image, and kind of how it affects him personally.
Right.
And then Kyle is a little more, like, outward with his motivations.
Yeah. I think the real difference is that, like, they both have kind of an ego thing, but Stan's is more like, oh, he's like, I'm so great, but Kyle says, like, no, I'm so right. Like,
Like, I'm so right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And another thing I've kind of noticed is, like, when Stan wants to do something, he does things to keep other things from happening.
No, I'm just gonna jump in the shower.
Okay.
He kind of...
Alright, but if you ever want me to, like, leave, you can just say so, because I'm
I
going to
can
be
sleep
a little bit
for quite a
loud.
bit.
Okay. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, you guys ready to go on?
Yep. Rachel's just getting distracted.
Sorry. Okay, next episode.
Next up. Wow, you won't even let me finish my point.
Oh,
I
sorry.
had no idea where the fuck I was
You
going.
can keep going.
Maybe we'll edit that part out, maybe we won't. We don't
My
know.
bad.
Probably not. You're probably hearing this now, like, what the fuck are they doing?
Oh, who
But,
knows?
let's move on to episode 3, Freak Strike.
Aired March 20th, 2002.
The boys disguise Butters as a victim of a birth defect so they can win a prize on the Maury Povich show. But when the freaks go on strike, Cartman disguises himself as an out-of-control teenage girl in order to get on Maury. Love this episode.
Yeah.
This is, like, easily top 3 of the
Like
season.
an out-of-control teenage girl.
He kind of is. Just take away the penis
Yeah, he didn't have to act very hard.
I also kind of love, I love the gag where, like, they're doing, like, the crazy out-of-control teens and everything, and they bring out, like, the 6-month-old baby, and they're like,
Oh, yeah.
completely naked! There she goes, what a whore! Like, just slut-shaming a baby.
Yeah.
Like,
And I like this episode, but, and I love the boys, and I try to be on their side a lot, but this is one of the episodes where, like, I really can't deny that they, like, really manipulate Butters and treat him like shit, and I felt kind of bad for him.
Penny would have done it.
Yeah.
I also love, it's kind of keeps showing, like, how, they always kind of hammer down the fact, like, you're not Kenny, you're not Kenny, you're not Kenny, and then Butters, like, when he goes on the show,
Oh, yeah.
they ask, like, do they make fun of you at school? They're like, yeah, they're always calling me not Kenny.
And everyone's like, what?
They're like, Kenny's dead. Yeah, this is really funny. I think the fun fact I have for this is that the Freak Union label song
Oh.
towards the end is based off of, like, a worker union label, like, commercial.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, they basically just took the song, rewrote the lyrics, and did a parody, but it was, like, so weird and obscure, because it was when Matt and Trey were young, like, that
Yeah.
show when they were young, so
This episode,
they do a lot of weird shit like that.
yeah, this episode's, like, kind of special to me because it has the whole, like, whatever, I do what I want. Just because, like, that was my favorite South Park meme ever. I still love that one.
I love that one, too. Like, I wanted, they're, like, these little blind box Cartman figures and everything, and I want to get that one, because they have one of him, like, in
Really?
whatever, get up. I want it so bad. I want it so bad. I've never been able to get it.
That's so tragic.
It was tragic. You guys ready to move on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. Episode 4, Fun with Veal.
Aired March 27, 2002.
The boys try to save baby cows destined to become veal from torture and slaughter.
I love the episodes where Stan is like an animal rights hippie. I love them.
They pop up, and then it's just like, sometimes I just want to have like a marathon of all of those episodes.
Where he's like, Stan's just an activist.
Yeah.
See, this is one of the first episodes I watched. It really is. Like, I remember the old South Park Studios website. It was like
Yeah,
the
me
old
too.
website, and they had all of the episodes for free.
Yep, I remember
From
those.
the first episode to later on, like, they had all of them for free, and this is one of the first ones that I watched. Like, that wasn't on TV. Like, I went out and tried to watch it, and needless to say, I think I was in middle school, and I thought the fact that Stan had little vaginas on his face was like the biggest achievement in comedy ever. I thought that was the best moment of my life, is seeing a little cartoon character with tiny vaginas on his face.
It was pretty
Deserves
great.
an Oscar.
Yeah.
Genius comedy, like, fantastic.
Right.
But I don't have a lot to say about this
Yeah,
episode.
me
Like,
either.
It's not my favorite, but it's not my least favorite.
What about you, Katie? Do you have anything to say?
I love this episode, just like everything about it, like Stan like breaking out, and then I like the part where they're like Cartman is like he has the cow and he's like kicking it across the ice.
Yeah, sliding it. I also love the part where Sheila gets really pissed and she tries to like break down the door when Kyle calls her a bitch or whatever.
Yeah.
You know he probably died after.
Yeah, rip Kyle.
Like, oh my god, she slaughtered him after that.
I love Sheila.
You're breaking my balls with the negotiator.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. Like, this, I think that was the first instance of you're breaking my balls. I think that's the first time he did that.
No, he didn't. He did it in the Kenny Dies episode.
What?
He did it in the Kenny Dies episode when he was negotiating
That's
with,
it, That's right.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking that was after. Yeah, that was. I love when and they return to like old jokes and everything. Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
Alright, want to go on?
There's that one episode, when's the episode where the people from the future comes? What season is that?
Oh, I think it's next season.
Season 8.
I think it's next season, or season 8. It's coming up.
It's sad. I knew that exactly on the spot.
Yeah, I remember he does that, and then, like, he's trying to get deals from people because they're raking yards, and then he doesn't do anything else, and then Kyle starts yelling at him,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all you do is talk about your balls.
I love when Kyle does
working
that.
jokes like that
Yeah.
in South Park. I wish they'd bring back whatever I do what I want.
Yeah, I know.
I wish they did. Well, they did in another. They did it. I'll say it later in the episode, in the podcast. But anyway, let's move on. We rambled enough about that one.
Yeah.
Here comes probably my least favorite of the season.
This one's okay.
maybe not. This one's probably my second to last favorite, but it's called the new Terrance and Phillip movie trailer.
Aired April 3rd, 2002.
The boys have to sit through Fighting Around the World, a boring TV show starring Russell Crowe, to see a trailer for the new Terrance and Phillip movie, but risk missing it when Shelley sends the boys out to buy her tampons, and the boys try to find another TV to watch the trailer.
I think my favorite gag in this whole episode is this whole thing where the boys had to keep running from place to place, and Cartman's like so tired, he's like wheezing, he's like, blah, 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 running behind them.
We get the big open shot, so the boys all ready, and then pause like 2 seconds, and then there's Cartman running like, you guys, oh my god, yeah. It's so
He, like,
funny.
drops the donut and
Yeah.
runs back to it, like, no donut, left behind.
That's me.
Oh man, this is my fun fact. I have a couple. If you watch the episode, you kind of know, especially if you've seen it on TV. The commercial breaks in the episode fall on the actual commercial breaks on the station.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, they planned it out like that. So every single time the boys would watch a commercial, it would cut to an actual commercial break on TV and everything. So
Oh,
it's
interesting.
awkward if you watch it on, Netflix, or they don't have it on Netflix anymore, but
Ooh,
on,
that's
like,
how I
a
watched
DVD.
it.
But, if you watch it, it's one of those episodes that it's actually kind of better if you watch it on TV and don't fast forward, like...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But,
I watched Hulu, the only thing is we have commercials free, so the first time I watched it, I actually had the commercial breaks,
Mm-hmm.
but then the second time around, I might have noticed it then, but now that you're saying it, I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if people, like, caught on to that, because I knew it the first time I watched it, like, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I understood, I'm like, oh, it falls at the same time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then, my other fact is about Russell Crowe and everything, and, like, around this time, like, Russell Crowe is, like, getting into a shit ton of fights.
Oh,
So that's why.
that's
Fighting
why.
around the well, and apparently, like, they were kind of cool with, like, Russell Crowe and everything, and then they went to, Russell Crowe, like, came out with an album before this episode, like, I think it was, the year before. He had come out with an album, and he told Matt and Trey, and like, hey, come listen to my album, I'm having a listening party, I want your opinions and everything, and they, like, gave critiques,
Mm-hmm.
and he
didn't take it well.
Mad at them. So they found out it's like he just wanted us there to inflate his ego and just tell him he did a great job. Like,
Oh, okay. That episode makes a little more sense now.
they said that on their mini commentaries. I love how like all my fun facts is just basically their mini commentaries.
God, Shirley.
But yeah, with that, you ready to move on?
I am.
All right. And next is Professor Chaos.
Aired April 10th, 2002.
Part 1 of 2. The boys try to find a replacement for Butters, who becomes a supervillain after being fired from the group. Meanwhile, Stan, Kyle, and Cartman hold a contest to fill the void left by Kenny. Obviously, Bachelorette? The Bachelor? I don't know. I've never really watched it, but it's a parody of that
Yeah,
show.
I get the reference though. I love how the show like acknowledges like it being self-aware again. How it acknowledges that Butters like replaced Kenny and it isn't working.
Yeah. So I think this might have been like the turning point where they're like, okay, let's make things back to normal.
Switch it
Like,
up,
Hill
yeah.
just chokes on Dick
Yeah.
later, at the end.
Yeah.
They kill Miss Jokes on Dick, they fire Butters, but then they, like, bring in Tweak at the end, which, my favorite gag in this episode is, like, because I don't think this is that super funny of an episode. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh, what was I saying? I literally just blanked out.
Fucking Shirley got.
Fuck, I did forget. Whatever.
Okay, I'll talk now. I do love Tweak, and I'm glad they picked him, but I always wondered, like, why they picked him out of all the characters, because he's just as underdeveloped at that point as, like, every other character, and so I'm like, I wonder why it was him that they picked.
Maybe that was why they picked him, because he was so underdeveloped, because, like, other characters had a lot more screen time, like, Jimmy's had more, Craig's had more, Clyde's, basically all the characters have had more screen time than Tweak. So maybe they picked him specifically to develop him, I guess.
And maybe they also picked him because Matt also voices Tweak, so I guess they kind of always like to keep the balance.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Matt voice 2 and Trey voice 2. Oh, and I remembered what I was going to say. My favorite thing about this episode is at the end where they were going to kind of do like the cliffhanger, and they're like, all these questions will be answered right now. I love that.
Yeah.
I bet they were too afraid that people were going to backlash if they had like done cliffhanger. They were too afraid people were going to be like, don't you dare do another Terrance and Phillip.
And then this is Professor Chaos's first debut too, so Butters' dark side.
I love Professor Chaos because it's like Butters thinks he's so tough.
I know.
But in reality, he's really just
Butters. Yeah.
He's so precious. I love him.
I'm
ready for him in the game, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
At the time that we're recording this, The Fractured Butthole has not come out. It probably won't come out for another 40 years.
Yeah.
We're going to keep putting it off. We're going to be doing Podcasa Bonita episode 830.
Right.
But, yeah, I guess we'll just move on to part 2 of this little series. Simpsons already did it.
Aired June 26, 2002.
Conclusion. Butters discovers that all of his plots for destroying the world have been done before on the Fox animated sitcom, The Simpsons. Meanwhile, Cartman creates a miniature society of sea people in his aquarium. Goddamn, this to me is funnier than part 1.
Really?
I think that was a lot funnier than part 1 because of the line, I just had to close my eyes and suck it out of a hole, or out of a boat.
And then, like, and then he's dumping the jizz in
the water tank. Yeah.
Stan looks at him like, you just suck it out of a hole? And he's,
He's like, yep.
How many hoses? Like, that was a lot. Holy crap. Like, that was a lot of jizz.
And then, oh shit, what was I gonna say? Never mind.
Guys, this is why I take notes.
Because you're a fucking nerd, Rachel.
I said I'll forget what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, Rachel is a nerd.
She is a nerd. See, she backs me
Alright,
up.
I'll talk about some of my talking points then. Alright. Ooh, Tweak's new position is already stressing him out. It's only been 1 episode, but he can't handle it.
Oh, I think I have a fact.
Okay.
Oh yeah, give it.
Like, you know when they're making the snowman in this episode?
Yes.
And then they try to get Tweak to put the nose on.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, what if it comes to life and kills me? And then they go, well, when has that ever happened except for that one time?
I love that line.
That was the reference to Spirit of the very first Spirit of Christmas. It wasn't like the popular one that got passed around. It was their college project Spirit of Christmas. The very first instance. It was Frosty versus Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Frosty versus Jesus, and that's really obscure. I think. Like, I don't think a lot of people know about the college one. They've just seen the one that they made for like as a Christmas card and everything. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's that's so true. Yeah, I tried to steal my job here. I got the name wrong. I thought it was Santa versus Frosty, but no.
And then I love the best gag, obviously, is the Simpsons one, talking about how Simpsons has been on for so long that it's done everything. And I love the scene where Butters is, like, getting hysterical, and then, like, you just hear General Disray, like, Simpsons did it, like, screaming.
I love it when it all turns to Simpsons style, except for the way Leanne Cartman looks. Cartman's mom. For some reason, her design, she looks like a dolphin. Like, she looks like a dolphin with jaundice and lipstick on. Like, it does not look right. Like, if you don't believe me, like, go back and just, like, look it up or watch the episode. Like, there's something about the way she's drawn in Simpsons style that just, like, it's like,
creepy.
makes my skin crawl for some reason. It just doesn't look right. It looks so wrong. But, I thought that was super funny, and I love how they're not really like shitting on the Simpsons. They're not saying, "Oh, Simpsons sucks," because they do it. They're like, "No, Simpsons would be a lot more clever than what we're doing right now." And another fun fact, I'm full of them right now. They after seeing this episode, like the Simpsons kind of production team was just like, "Oh, we've done that before too. Like we found out that." We've done these things before.
That's funny.
And the Matt and Trey actually didn't plan to make this like a Simpsons did it episode. Like they were making it a joke, and they were making the joke that Simpsons did it with Professor Chaos, but they had no idea that the Simpsons kind of did like the little society and everything. Like,
really?
I don't know what it was like an episode of The Simpsons where like there was like a little mini society and everything, and they viewed one of the characters as God and everything like they did, and they didn't plan on it, but they ended up ripping off The Simpsons again when they weren't trying to.
Yeah.
So I love how that just like fit.
It just fell into place, right?
Okay, you guys ready for Red Hot Catholic Love?
Yeah. Aired July 3rd, 2002.
Following the Catholic Church molestation scandals, Father Maxey tries to bring about reform. The South Park parents convert to atheism, and Cartman wins a bet that he can defecate from his mouth.
That's the best part of this episode. Where Cartman does it, and all the boys are like, oh.
See, that's the best part, but the only thing I have negative to say is that because of that part, I always get this episode confused with season 5's How to Eat with Your Butt.
Oh.
I'm like, see How to Eat with Your Butt. I'm like, oh, I want to watch that. And I'm like, oh, it's not the episode where Cartman eats with his butt. Damn, it's the one about the butt face. But, like, that is the best gag. And I didn't catch on to, I guess this is kind of the fun fact and everything. I'm pretty sure it's obvious to everybody else. But when the first time I had watched this and everything, like the whole Eat with Your Butt, when the parents were having the atheist meeting and everything, whenever they'd say something like, oh, we should take under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, like they'd have a piece of crap like spewing out of their mouth. So I'm like, I didn't get that was like, funny symbolism and everything. I didn't get it until after I had seen the episode like a ton. Like I thought that was super funny and super clever. I'm just mad at myself. It took me that long to realize.
Well, I'm super smart, and I always got that metaphor. Haha, Shirley.
Oh, is a piece of crap falling out of your mouth right now?
I thought that that was kind of on the nose, and the Cartman subplot is like a metaphor for people spewing shit out of their mouths, which is really... I never thought I would say that sentence as an English major, but alright. Alright, what about you, Katie? What do you think?
I don't know.
I don't like this episode that much, to be honest.
So, because, like, it talks about religion, because I'm, like, religious, I guess, and so it mentions how, that religion can't lose touch with reality.
Yeah.
It loses followers. Like the Book of Mormon, how Arnold edited it.
Right.
To the Africans.
Yeah, to, like, apply it to their problems.
Yeah.
Exactly, and, like, make them better people and everything, and I always kind of enjoy when South Park tackles religion, because it has never ever been in a place that is like, religion is stupid and you should not be religious at all. Like, they'll rip on it and make fun of it, but their end game is never to, like, try and convert people to be atheists.
Exactly.
They rip on atheists, honestly, more than religious people. Like, when they rip on religious people, it's always the obvious stuff, like, oh, you believe in... But when they rip on atheists, it's like, they have shit coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Like the episode where Mr. Garrison becomes an atheist. they're talking
Yeah,
about
that's in season 10.
abolition. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or should I say Mrs. Garrett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like this episode because it's kind of like, it talks about religion, but it's like smart about it. It criticizes people for believing or not believing in something for the wrong reasons, kind of like how their parents did, or the kids' parents did in this episode.
Yeah, like, just because there's a stigma, it
Yeah.
means that stigma fits, and that we shouldn't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I will say another favorite part of this episode for me is the Catholic Bone.
Yeah.
It's just Trey singing the
And then they've got
Catholic
the
Bone.
drum
It's like,
and everything.
it's like,
And everything, and then they're like touching like Butter's face or something.
Yeah.
exactly, like like, you know, they have all these Catholic priests and everything. Like, it's a parody of the Love Boat,
Yeah.
honestly. And I love how, like, Randy, all of a sudden, it just cuts to Randy, like, screaming, like, in the middle of
And then he like covered it up with.
That's funny.
Yeah, let's move on to Free Hats.
Aired July 10th, 2002.
The kids from a club tried to stop Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. Oh, the kids form a club, sorry, to try to stop Steven Spielberg and George Lucas from editing their classic films. But the townspeople mistake it as a call to free a child murderer named Hat McCullough from prison. Fun fact, McCullough is, it's the last name of one of their co-writers, Kyle McCullough, and everything, so that's my only fun fact, I guess.
Alrighty. I think my favorite part of this episode is like the live-action Matt and Trey scene with like the re-release of the South Park episode.
To me, that's the only part that I like. Because
Yeah, I don't like this episode that much.
This is my favorite episode.
This one's okay.
This is probably my least favorite of the season. It's one of actually my least favorites of South Park. I don't really like this episode that much, but I think it's because, no, it's not really the reason because, but I noticed like Matt and Trey love ripping on directors for rehashing or trying to edit material. Like they do it here. They do like the rape thing and the child.
They're doing it in season 20.
In season 12. Season 20, they have, like, the J.J. Abrams, so they're just, like, totally against, like, anybody remaking shit. Like, they just hate it. They've harped on it so much. And this is the first instance of them doing it. Maybe if you exclude Jabakasaur and, or Jackofasaur and, in season 3, but they just do it a lot. I guess I'm just kind of tired of it. They're just tired of ripping on directors all the time.
Thing I mentioned earlier about fake before we started.
Yeah.
Because cause he's got like anxiety and shit, and everybody thinks he's like this weak little baby that can't do anything for himself, but he's like a badass in this.
Yeah,
one.
people underestimate him.
Like, just right up.
This is a good Tweak episode. I'll give you that.
It's a good episode. It's
I
just
did-
not an
I did love that one line Cartman has, the self-aware line, where he's like, people aren't that into you, Tweak. They find you kind of annoying.
And then he like stays up making the hats, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
He stays up all night and only made like 12 of them.
and then he has that serenity moment, and then Cartman comes in and he's like
He just ruins it.
head poking in.
Yeah.
Starts to explain, I'm being a dork, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's why she wanted to be on this one, Katie, because she like really loves Tweak.
yeah.
Which is kind of funny, actually, because when I was watching this, I realized that Tweak isn't in this season as much as I thought he was.
But yeah, you guys ready? Oh, this next episode is like one of my favorites.
I love this
like
one.
this episode. Bebe's boobs destroy society. This is also one of the first episodes that I ever saw. Anyway.
Aired July 17th, 2002.
The boys in class start acting weird when Bebe begins to develop breasts while Wendy Testaburger gets implants so that the boys will notice her.
Oh, Wendy.
Oh, Wendy. See, I used to think when I first watched this episode, really, like when I really first watched this episode, I was like, this is kind of out of character for Wendy to kind of like treat Bebe and call her like a slut and everything, and then actively want to go out and get a breast implant and get breast implants and everything. Just one breast implant, just one.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that, but then again, Wendy's a great character, but she also has been proven to be, like, really catty when Stan's involved, when she gets really jealous of him, so I guess I can kind of see where she's coming from.
And then the more I watched it, as the episode went on, I was kind of like, well, no, this kind of is in character for him. She's obviously developed a little bit more. She's a little less shallow.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, she'd probably be less likely to rip on Bebe and everything and be super shitty to Bebe.
She'd probably be super shitty to Stan.
But, I don't know, like, Wendy still has, like, that insecurity that pretty much every girl faces, no matter how strong, you know, of a feminist or like, how, you know, positive as a woman you can be, you still always have, like, that insecurity. And, I don't know, any episode with Bebe and Wendy, I really, really like.
Yeah, me too.
I love having girl-oriented episodes. I love the boys acting like Neanderthals.
Yeah, yes. The visual joke of them turning into apes is, like, so spot on.
And then Stan with his cave paintings with crayons on the wall.
Yeah,
And then he turns to his dad, and he looks at him, and he has a stick, and he's moving around like,
Yes, son, these autons. But that's super fun. I always forget how much I enjoy this episode until I go back and watch it. Mm-hmm. I think it's just super, super funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very funny. A lot of great scenes in it. Like, I love the scene where Bebe wakes up and her little boobs are plotting.
See, I relate to Bebe so much. I relate to Bebe so much because I had to start wearing a bra in 3rd grade.
Oh, no.
I got boobs in 3rd grade. And the thing is, boys don't really, like, I know it's for a joke and everything, but boys really don't act the way that they do in this episode. Like, you just get made fun of. You just get made fun of when you're that young and it happens. But I relate to Bebe because when I first, you know, when I was in her situation, I was pretty miserable. I hated having it. I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm growing up. Like it
was
sucked.
like, yeah.
So I relate to Bebe.
I remember, like, I was one of the last girls in my grade to start wearing a bra. I was late, but anyway, I remember in, like, lunch lines and stuff, like, people would make a big deal out of it. Like, I remember one time someone touched my back to see if it didn't feel if I had a bra on, and they would go like, "Are you wearing one?" Like,
that was just creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love how we started off with, like, this episode's so funny, and then we like go on and say, like,
yeah. I mean, I can see why, because, like, this episode's funny, but it also has, like, good commentary about how boys and girls both change once you get older and you're, like, maturing sexually and stuff. So it has that going for it, and it's funny.
Oh, another gag that I love is Cartman playing lambs with the Silence of the Lambs joke. Oh my gosh, I think that is so funny because, of course, Cartman would play Silence of the Lambs. Of course he would. There's no question. Why would I not think of that before?
I think my favorite scene of the whole episode is, like, when Cartman gets kicked out of the group or whatever, and then he comes back to the bus stop, he's like, "Fuck you, Kyle," and "Fuck you, Stan. Fuck you, Tweak. Maybe you're so cool." And then he leaves.
Maybe you're so cool.
Okay, I think we've talked about that way
too much. Okay, let's go.
It started out with us being like, "That's so funny," and then it gets deep and shit. We gotta stop doing that. Alright, Child Abduction is not funny.
Aired July 24th, 2002.
The parents hire Chong Lu Kim to build a wall around the city to protect the children from kidnappers, but end up letting their kids go after learning that parents are more likely to abduct their own children than total strangers.
Can I just say that Tweeg is such a good character to have in an episode all about paranoia? Like, this is the best episode for him.
See, in Tweek's time, he was used, like, really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tweek was used really well. I feel like they put him in the spotlight a lot to try and kind of, like, force him to be the new kid, but everybody just missed Kenny. Like, they brought him back because everybody just missed him so much, and they missed having Kenny, you know?
That's so funny to me that, like, the Kenny fans just didn't shut up until they brought him back.
Exactly. Kind of what they're doing with Tweak and Craig and everything.
Right.
We, like, all bitch about not having Tweak and Craig, and then they'll, like, take a little tidbit of them every once in a while. But, yeah, I think, I know it's terrible, but I think the funniest parts of this episode is, anything with him, with the Chinese guy building the wall.
And the Mongolians, yeah.
God damn it, Mongolians, you turned down my shitty wall! That is, I feel bad for laughing at it because it's just all stereotype.
Right.
Like,
But he's not technically Chinese, so...
Yeah, and I love the whole part where the parents like send the kids out on their own or whatever, and they're just being really dumb. And Stan gets like, oh, he's so mad. He's like, dude, sometimes I think our parents are so stupid. Like, I love the episodes where their parents are just like insanely dumb.
The Stan thing. Oh, Rachel, you're kind of freezing, but
Oh no.
he does the thing where he just like grabs the bridge of his nose.
Yeah. I love when Stan does that. He's so done.
Yeah, I love how Kyle has like the blank stare face, and then Stan has the grab his Brit.
Yeah, it's their go-to. I'm so done with this shit.
Yeah, and it's like Stan is my favorite like reaction stuff for like Snapchat. If I'm watching South Park, I just like take a picture of Stan, and then send someone like, I hate you.
Okay, I don't have too much to say about this one.
Yeah,
like,
me either.
So you guys want to move on then?
Yeah.
Sure. Alright, next episode is A Ladder to Heaven. We're almost done.
Yeah. November 6, 2002.
The boys build a ladder to heaven to talk to Kenny about a candy coupon. Meanwhile, Carmen accidentally drinks Kenny's ashes and becomes possessed with spirit. I love that. Oh my god.
I love that storyline.
I love the whole I love the whole storyline with Cartman drinking Kenny's ashes and then having Kenny like possessing Cartman. Like, I think that is so funny. That was a great way to kind of like get Kenny back in the show, but not really back in the show. You know, like they're not just mentioning him. He's still like part of the group.
Right. And this is the first episode without Tweak. For the rest of the season, he's not in it anymore. And I kind of feel bad, because I thought he was in this season a lot more than he was.
No, he was only in, like, no joke, it was, like, 2 or 3 episodes.
I always think this one is, like, the Tweak season, but it's really not.
It's really not. It's not even really a Butters season either. Butters is only, like, episodes 1 through 3, and then they're just really just trying to get back.
They just want Kenny back.
Get everything back to normal.
But like the Tweak episodes, it's like because he's in there so little, and like the Creek fandom and then just the Tweak fandom in general, it's just like everyone freaks out when he like says something.
Like anything.
It's like.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of other things. I also really loved how they called out like Alan Jackson and everything, like the when they built the ladder to heaven, and he's like, they're like, here, watch him capitalize on people's misery once again.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm like, that's pretty smart. That's pretty smart. They're really calling out that dude.
Yeah, I thought it was funny how they kind of made fun of America, how trigger happy they are when they were gonna bomb heaven. I'm like, yeah, if anyone was gonna do that, it'd be America.
Yep. And then, trying to beat the Chinese and everything.
Yeah, I love their fake heaven set.
And then they believed it.
Right.
Like Terrance.
Alright, want to go on?
Yeah, let's move on.
This is my favorite one. This is my favorite episode
really good
of the season.
The Return of the Fellowship of the Ring to the Two Towers.
Aired November 13th, 2002.
The boys go on a quest to return a tape with evil powers to the video store before the 6th graders steal it from them. Meanwhile, the parents try to find their kids to explain the context of the porno film they have in their possession.
I love this one so much because I love Lord of the Rings, and this is such a good parody of it. It's so funny, and it hits all the similarities so well. I just love it.
It is, and the thing is, Matt and Trey don't necessarily even really like the Lord of the Ring movies. Like, they're not that huge of fans of. Well, I think they talk more about the Hobbit series, like the Hobbit, like the prequel series. they're just like, they're not huge fans of it, but I love how, like, they pay so much attention to detail and
Right.
everything. This is an excellent form of parody. It's
Yes.
almost like beat by beat to Lord of the Rings, but it's played so well. Like, it's so well written. This is one of Matt and Trey's favorite episodes too. This is like, I think this episode was like on their top 10. Like, they made a DVD with like their favorite episodes and everything. But this is definitely one of my absolute
Yeah, I
favorites.
love this one.
I think it's so funny, so well written. I love it. The fun fact, I guess, is that the title of this episode is a mix of every single Lord of the Rings movie.
All right. What about you, Katie? Do you like Lord of the Rings or not really?
I tried reading a lot of them. I don't remember if it was from The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, but I tried reading something and I got bored, and so I just went.
So this
back.
episode not do that much for you?
But I did like this episode because, like, Butters with his precious.
Oh yeah.
And then we're gonna play like Lord of the Rings, and then he just hops on Stan.
No, it was Kyle.
Oh, it was Kyle, yeah.
I remember this
He's
shit.
like, okay, if you want to play with us, you're gonna have to play like Lord of the Rings. And Butterstone's like starts like humping Kyle. And
Yeah.
what are you doing? I'm playing Lord of the Rings.
And then when they're all in the circle and the token goes into
Yeah, he's like, I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, like, and he walks back out, gives them back the tape, and he goes, I'm out. I don't know what I saw. I don't want to know. I'm out. And then he just like,
Right.
I love it when they take like odd characters. They've kind of done that a lot with this season. Like they've taken, you know, characters that don't often get spotlight and
Right.
everything, and like give them big roles. They could have easily done that with Kyle or with Stan or whatever, but they did it with Togen. I think that is so funny. And I don't know, like, this episode is like so well written for me. That's like my biggest praise I have for it. It's so well written. Like, every beat is on point. Every joke hits. Like, and the parents freaking out
Yeah.
over. I will say this: my mom, she doesn't watch South Park. She's really not a fan of it at all. She doesn't like anything that's like relatively crude at all. But the very first time she had like ever seen like a glimpse of South Park was, I was watching this episode, and it's the scene where they like try to, Randy and Sharon are trying to have sex, and they put on the porno, and Sharon comes out in like her mom body,
Yeah.
with the lingerie. My mom's and Randy comes out with his like little G-string. And
Yeah.
my mom goes, "Oh, that's gross." And I laughed. I'm like, okay, if you think that's the grossest thing, here it is for like a wild ride.
That scene's funny to me because I love when they turn Lord of the Rings on and then Randy's like, oh man, I hate when pornos try to have a story.
I love the Backdoor Sluts 9.
Yeah.
Like, all the dads know.
And all the wives are really pissed.
Too much.
great ending episode, when they catch up to the boys and they thought that they've seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
And tell them about, like double penetration and urine cakes.
Yeah, yeah. And the boys are like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think this is my favorite episode of the season for a lot of reasons. Like I said, it's a great parody, and like Shirley said, it's really greatly written. But I think another element is because it's like a really good example of the kids, the adults, and then funny minor characters like the sixth graders all blending together to have a really like funny and balanced episode. Like no storyline was focused on too much, and they were all funny, and that's what made it so great, I think.
It really has. Like, I feel like a lot of people forget about this episode, but it's a really sweet episode. And I feel like it's also another episode that we've rambled on way too
Yes,
long.
we should go on.
We'll go on to the Death Camp of Tolerance.
Aired November 20th, 2002. That's today, and this episode is 14 years old.
At the time that we're recording.
Yes.
And hell, this is getting close to the day that we're actually recording this. But the description is, Mr. Garrison tries to get fired for discrimination by performing inappropriate acts in class with his new teaching assistant, Mr. Sleigh, so he can file a lawsuit against the school, but the school administration instead sends the student to a tolerance camp to learn how to deal with people of different walks of life. First instance
my god,
Look,
Cartman in
Mr.
the
Sleigh.
Museum of Tolerance is like comedy gold. Where he goes through the tunnel thing, he's like, oh, I want to go again.
Yeah, and then like Butters and Tweak and like Stan and Kyle, they're all like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. And then Cartman, like he's like in the back and he's just like smiling. And he's like, I want to go again. I want to go again.
Yeah, he's having a great time. The best.
I'm thrilled just about Mr. Slave. I
Yeah.
love Mr.
So
Slave
funny.
so much. I think he's so funny. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he appeared in Asspen. Like Mr. Slave didn't, but the guy who voices him, he's
okay.
part of the staff. I don't know if he's writing staff, but in Asspen, I forgot to mention this. They wanted to clear like one song, like the I don't know the name of it, but
Right.
they didn't have the song cleared at the time when they were worried the episode was about to go on air. So they had the guy who voiced Mr. Slave sing it, and it plays at the credits of Asspen, and that's like the first time they had his voice.
okay.
And they used him as Mr. Slave.
Yeah. I think the best line of the whole episode is the chef's, where he hears about what's going on, and he's like, children, there's a big difference between gay people and Mr. Garrison.
Like for
It
real.
made me laugh so hard.
That's so funny. Like, I also kind of like the message where it's like you don't necessarily, you have to tolerate people you don't necessarily have to like accept. And I'm like, God, some people can't even handle the tolerate part.
Yeah.
Like for real. So I'm like, I kind of appreciate this episode, and at the same time, I'm like, God, people are just not gonna get it.
Mhm.
People are not gonna get it.
Yeah. Can we talk about Lemmy Winks, though?
Oh, that's the song is like a parody of The Hobbit and everything.
Oh,
I read
really?
that somewhere. I don't.
Yeah, I read that too. I don't remember where though.
Yeah. Okay. That's really all I have to say. I was just super thrilled about Mr. Slade and Mr. Garrison being a freak. So.
Alright. Let's go on.
All right, here we go to the biggest douche in the universe.
Aired November 27, 2002.
Chef's parents try to exorcise Kenny's spirit from Cartman. Meanwhile, Stan calls out John Edward for providing false hope to people whose loved ones had died. Oh my gosh, this is the best. This is one of the best episodes because Chef's parents are in it.
Yes! I love
Chef's
them.
dads are in it. Chef's parents are the best. They're my favorite characters.
I know, I was so delighted to see them again.
Yeah, and then like back to what you said, like Stan does stuff to avoid doing more stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, and like I was gonna say, bringing up Stan's ego again, like I thought it was really funny how he thinks being a psychic is bullshit, but he still accepts his own TV show, so I'm like...
Oh, yeah.
Of course,
See,
it's Stan.
This is kind of what I was going to say, how it differentiates Kyle from Stan. When Stan takes a stance and everything, it's either for, like, his ego, like his personal ego, like activism or anything,
Right.
or it's trying to stop a behavior.
Yes.
Trying to, like, stop a behavior. And not necessarily changing anything, but trying to, like, stop people from doing things. Like the cult thing, he wanted people to stop doing that. Scientology, this instance, he wanted people to stop listening. Kyle generally wants things to change for the better.
Yeah,
like,
he wants
better things rather than things just like stop. He wants to make
he doesn't just want people to stop. He wants like them to change and do something different and be better.
Stan usually wants like an instance of something to just like end. Like,
Yeah.
don't do this, you shouldn't do this, or he just wants to feel his ego.
Alright. And you know, I think one of my favorite parts is the freaking TV trailers where it's like Rob Schneider is a stapler.
I hear it.
Oh, and then he eats the pot roast
Yeah.
at the end, and then he's like 8 years old.
Rob Schneider is Kenny.
Or someone, and then the cops are chasing him, and then he gets his head stuck by the flagpole.
Yeah.
I think happened in like season 1.
Right.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite like moments, and it's not even that funny. I don't know why it makes me laugh. It's just like so goofy that it's funny. It's one of the commercials. It's the carrot one. It's the
Oh, yeah.
Schneider is a carrot, and then Ron Schneider like turns around and he's like, I'm a carrot. Like, that just like makes me laugh so hard. Like, just, I'm a carrot.
And I like how Cartman and Kenny are like arguing.
Yeah, in the same body. Like, no, Kenny is not funny.
It's like, and like you'll hear Cartman laugh. He's like, oh, that was Kenny, not me.
And then like Kenny like Cartman like takes out the headphones and he goes, no, I want to watch. Shut up, Kenny. I love how Cartman says things differently. Like
Yeah. Like a speech impediment.
I also love the ending. It's like, here he is, the biggest douche in the
Yeah.
universe.
He's like, no, I'm not a
I
douche.
want that to like play behind me whenever I walk. Like, but yeah, it's a funny episode. Matt and Trey really stand behind like this episode and everything. Like the point behind this episode, they're just like, no, fuck you. This
Yeah.
is not. He's a liar. He's lying about
And a
this
fake,
shit.
and he's a douche.
And fucked him dead. And like they've honestly like I agree with this like wholeheartedly. Like I don't like that's just my personal belief and everything. And I just kind of love how they're like, no, fuck you. It's not real. It's not real. There's no way around it. It's not real.
Yep.
Like they're just so pessimistic about it. It's so funny. Okay, let's move on to my future self and me.
Aired December 4th, 2002.
Stan meets a man who claims to be Stan in the future after a life of abusing drugs and alcohol. Meanwhile, Cartman starts a revenge business.
This is one of my favorite episodes of this season. It's so good. And I love the, like, Stan and Butters team up, because that, like, almost never happens.
Yeah, Stan and Butters never team up, because it's always, like, Stan and Cartman and Butters. Like, together all
And
the
Stan and
time.
Kyle.
Yeah, and then I like the moment when Professor Chaos, like he was and like punished Terrance,
Right.
and then he dresses up, and then Stan's just like, oh, so you're gay? No,
It's okay if you're gay.
better not him.
And Butters is like, oh, did I put too much silver in the costume?
He probably did, but better.
Dan, there was something I was going to say about this episode. Like, I had mentioned it earlier in the commentary. What was I talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, damn. I was going to say something about this. It'll come to me after we finish
Alright.
recording.
This is like another good episode about like the hijinks that happen when parents don't want to talk to their kids about tough subjects. And I love how like Randy and Shannon are like so committed to the lie. Like
And then like, oh, like cutting his hand off. And
Yeah.
then his hand is chopped
that's the
off.
best scene.
I remember what I was going to say. Golly, I'm terrible at this.
Okay, come on,
You can
Joey.
be better at this after doing it 6 times.
Maybe you should
But,
write notes.
Like, this is another episode. This is another instance of Cartman going, "What? Like, at the end. At the end of the episode, right? Right.
Yeah.
What?
And then, like, I don't have a real problem with marijuana, but, like, Randy's speech about it at this episode was, like, the best point I've ever heard against it. I was like, oh, wow, that actually really made me kind of agree with what he said, even though I don't really have a problem with it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really a good way to put it.
It's like addiction problem.
Mm-hmm.
You rely on it.
Right.
I like, what I was saying was, I love how at the end, like, Cartman ends up, like, screwing himself, like, screwing his future self and everything. That is so funny. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll do what I want. And then he like walks
exactly.
away.
And I love how he changes her, like, we get to see what future Cartman looks like. Like,
Yeah.
but,
I just want to go on. The
yeah,
last
this
episode.
is the last episode. Fucking finally, we
Yeah.
talked way too goddamn much.
It's been like an hour.
Here is Red Sleigh Down, or / Christmas in Iraq.
Alright, it's aired December 11th, 2002.
In this parody of Black Hawk Down, Cartman tries to bring Christmas to the downtrodden in Iraq to get on Santa's nice list. Also, Kenny returns after being permanently killed in season 5.
Alright. I loved
People care about for this episode.
I love seeing Mr. Hanky and then Cousin Kyle like appear in this episode. I loved that. I was like, oh my god.
I love the Poo-Choo train.
Yeah.
Poo-Choo train.
The song.
Like, all aboard the Poo-Choo train. Like, I use that. I would use that at the daycare. Like, when, I had to change diapers. I'm like, all aboard the Poo-Choo train. Like, that is one of my favorite trains.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah. And I love how Stan and Kyle can, like, smell Cartman's bullshit from a mile away. Like, they know. They're like, what are you up to, asshole?
Also, everybody was so thrilled about Kenny coming back and
Yes.
everything. I love how they bring him back.
He had
They
the
didn't-
best entrance.
They didn't do anything outrageous. They're like, oh, hey, Kenny, where are you? He's like, oh, I was just over there.
I was just hanging out.
And then, I remember, I had been so upset, I think it was 3 a.m. when I was watching Kenny die for the first time, and I was just, sobbing,
Aw.
and then, yeah, everybody sobbed, don't lie.
True.
And then, so, I didn't even, I was just so done, and I didn't want to watch, season 6, and so I just skipped right over it, and I went to this episode, and then I watched Kenny just walking up, and then I just started with season 7.
Oh.
Totally skipped over the season, except for the last minute.
A true Kenny fan.
Which is a shame because this season is pretty damn funny.
Yeah. This is a really, really funny Christmas episode. I love this one.
It is. This is also, we'll also be talking about this episode, on Rachel is in our, special Christmas, South Park Christmas
Yes.
special countdown. I don't know what the hell we're gonna call it.
So tune in for that.
Yeah, we'll see
we'll
where
put
it places.
we'll put the poll in the little thing
In the
below. We'll put it below, and you can vote in your favorite episodes, and then tune in.
Yeah, keep voting because it'll be fun. It'll give us some shit to do.
Yes,
Right?
put you in the Christmas spirit, like Mr. Hanky says.
But yeah, I don't have too much to say about this episode. So
I think my favorite line was when they're in Iraq and it's so horrible and people are dying, and then Carmen's like, "This is such a magical Christmas adventure, you guys."
And then there's the, Jimmy.
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh, on the first day, that was funny.
That was
But,
brutal.
That, sometimes they have a tendency, if Matt and Trey really, really love a joke, they will beat it into
Yeah, they
the
will.
fucking ground. Oh my gosh.
That part.
It was in this episode so much. Oh, it was so fun. It was funny, but I'm like, God damn, it's back again. They're doing it again. But, yeah, I guess on that note, that's the last on our list.
It is. Alright.
Well, I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you, Katie,
Yes,
for joining
thank you.
us.
We loved having
give
you.
her a round of applause. Me and Dad
Yay.
at home and clap for her. We're going to
Alright.
clap for her.
Yay.
So, yeah.
Alright, let us.
How was it for you, Katie? Was it good for you?
It was pretty great, but I was disappointed that I had to talk to Rachel for an hour.
Oh wow. Alright. Well.
See, now you know how I feel. Now you know how I feel.
Well,
I'm
to
gonna sit
anyone
and replace
listening,
Rachel with Katie.
let us know if you have questions, suggestions, or if you want to be on the show. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for listening.